We are very happy to have in the studio today Ray McGovern, multi-decade veteran of the CIA and the co-founder in 2003 of Veteran Intelligence Professionals for Sanity. Let's jump right into one of the big issues that we're hearing about so much in the media today, the issue of purported Russian hacking of the U.S. elections. Now, your group, the Veteran Intelligence Professionals for Sanity, you released a press statement on December 12th saying that all evidence pointed towards a leak rather than a hack. Since then, two reports came out, one from the DHS and one primarily authored by the ODNI, the Director of National Intelligence, saying, here's the proof, we know Russia did it. The report was of questionable usefulness. And then just a few days ago, you co-authored an op-ed in the Baltimore Sun with William Binney where you restated your position that all evidence point towards this being a leak rather than a hack, and in any case, evidence of a hack has not been presented. Why do you take that position?
Well, I need to tell you something about Veteran Intelligence Professionals for Sanity first. We established ourselves when we saw that our colleagues, the colleagues with whom we had worked, had let themselves be suborned into fabricating intelligence for the express purpose of deceiving our elected representatives, well, out of their constitutional prerogatives to declare or otherwise authorize war. That was before Iraq. And that's as bad as it gets. Bush-Cheney and the others all say, oh, it was a terrible mistake. It was a mistake. It was not a mistake. It was out and out fraud. And so when we saw that happening, we formed a little group. There were 5 of us in the beginning, and we started publishing. And we published 3 memoranda before the war, warning the president. Our first one was on the day of Colin Powell's speech, the 5th of February, 2003. And we gave him a C- for content. And we warned the president, you know, the intelligence is being manipulated, and that you really should widen the circle of your advisors, as we said at the end, beyond those that are clearly bent on a war for which we see no compelling reason, and from which we believe the unintended consequences are likely to be catastrophic. We take no delight in the fact that we happen to be right on that. There are a couple other people saying that, but nobody got into the mainstream media. So if you fast forward now and you see that the NSA people who were in place at the time not only were appalled at how much money was being thrown at programs that they knew would never work, but were outraged when they found out that a cheaper program that they devised themselves, which only cost $330 million to emplace. The other one that General Hayden went for cost $3 billion, like with a B, you know. So no comparison, except that one didn't work, okay? This one did. And the reason I mention that is this had plenty of evidence of what was going to happen in 9/11. It was in there. They went back and they looked. They closed that program, the main program, down, and when Tom Drake, who was still employed there, went in and looked, he found plenty of evidence that would have, had it been shared, prevented 9/11. So double outrage here, and Bill Binney had been the technical director at NSA before he left shortly after 9/11. So he joined us, like so many other wonderful people have, and when this went viral, this business about Russian hacking, it was the most natural thing for me to do, to say, hey, Bill, you know, we need a memo from you. We need you to do a draft, because you know, you designed some of these systems, most of them, and you know what Ed Snowden has revealed. I mean, those slides, yeah, they look really interesting to us, but you know, we need somebody to take us through them. We need some guy. So he said, sure. So he gave us a draft, and what we typically do is we circulate it around for the 5 or 6 or 7 people who have special interests in that or special experience, and we got it right together. And we were one of the first ones off the block saying, you know, this is a crock. Why? For technical reasons, okay? There were plenty of other reasons, but some people, and I think it's to their credit, They're technically oriented, and they want to know, is this possible? You know, could the Russians have done this?
Right.
Well, the answer is yes, but NSA would know about it. Now, it boggles the mind, Jason. It boggles the mind. But NSA traces all emails on this planet, okay? If they go abroad, well, they have cooperating agencies and cooperating governments, and not only 6, they have about 13 of them, okay? If they go through the United States, they get them. If they come from the United States, they get them all, okay? And they can trace them. They have these little trace mechanisms at various points in the network. And so they know where each and every email originates and where it ends up. Now, add to that the ironclad coverage they have of the Ecuadorian embassy in London, where Julian Assange is, and I'm sure that they monitor his colleagues as well, wherever they happen to be. So, okay, so let's say the Russians hack, and they got it to Julian, they got it to one of his associates. Well, okay, Russians are really bad people, people say. Show us the messages. Huh? Oh, we can't. We don't. No, we don't have messages, but we'll look at it. Now they got the president before he went on vacation to Hawaii to impose sanctions based on this elusive evidence that they can't show us. I mean, these memos are, my first reaction was to laugh at them, but this is a very sad thing to see what the intelligence community has become. I mean, very, very sad, because this is an important issue. So what did the president do? He slapped on sanctions, threw out 35 diplomats. All on who say so? John Brennan. Now, how did the New York Times get all this information? John Brennan. John Brennan. And we know that because the Wall Street Journal was a little ticked off about it, and they say, yeah, it's Brennan that's talking to these other guys, he's not talking to the Wall Street Journal. So what do we have here? We have the president going out on a limb, causing even more dangers or more flack or tensions in our relationship with Russia on the basis of what? I was looking at some YouTube clips, and I happened upon one of Christiane Amanpour, broadcasting from London, and she's interviewing, what's his name, Lukyanov. He was one of the Russian gurus.
Right.
Yeah. And she says, Mr. Lukyanov, now, you say there's zero evidence. You say zero. How can you say, well, if there's zero evidence, why is it that the President of the United States has slapped sanctions on Russia? And I'm thinking, I remember being asked that question about weapons of mass destruction.
Exactly.
Mr. McGovern, if you say there's no evidence of weapons of mass destruction, why did Bush and Cheney start a war on Iraq? Well,
right.
Same answer, same answer. So it's a really bad flashback, because what they need to do is come up with the evidence. And in my strong view is that they're not going to do that, not because of sources and methods, but because there isn't any.